The Salzkammergut is located in the heart of Austria. A wonderful and romantic landscape set between breathtaking mountains and beautiful lakes. One of the most famous lakes in the Salzkammergut is the Wolfgangsee. In the Middle Ages, St. Wolfgang was one of the most visited pilgrimage destinations in Central Europe, having attracted 70,000 of the faithful here each year. In the summer of 1873, the first paddle steamer was introduced, and the region eventually became famous due to an operetta, Das Weisse Rossl Am Wolfgangsee. The lake, mountains and meadows are in perfect harmony with each other. St. Gilgen is situated at the western end of the lake. It is set among captivating scenery at the foot of the Zwölferhorn mountain that has a cable car service. It takes 16 minutes to reach the summit. A perfect setting with a magnificent view across the Wolfgangsee and nearby mountains. Popular with both young and old alike and close to the Wolfgangsee, the Dorf der Tiere. It features various indigenous animals, tiny streets, and a lively atmosphere. From St. Wolfgang, a small train travels up the Schafberg, the main landmark of the Salzkammergut. This railroad is 5 kilometres long and rises to a height of 1,795 metres above sea level. Construction of this now famous tourist attraction was given the go-ahead in 1872. The carriages date back to the time of the railroad's inauguration. Each can seat about 60 passengers. More than 200,000 people travel to the top of the Schafberg each year. It's a relaxing way to reach the top. From here, there's a fascinating panoramic view across the lakeland below, as well as the beautiful hill and mountain scenery of the 3,000-meter-high Schafberg. Now, however, it's time to leave. The old steam engine is waiting patiently to take its passengers back down into the valley below. A wonderful example of railroad construction. The area's main village is Fuschl, that is situated on the Fuschlsee at the western end of the Salzkammergut. A tranquil and romantic lake that has inspired countless composers, poets, and authors. The lake is a glimmering turquoise color, and the surrounding landscape is truly superb. It takes about 3 hours to walk around it. The lake features wooden boats known as Zillen. They were once used to transport all manner of goods across the lake. This journey by hot air balloon is an amazing way in which to explore the fascinating landscape below. An adventure with a difference. From here, it's easier to gain a better perspective of the geology. In the Ice Age, huge glaciers led north. They carved out wide valleys, deep basins, and high mountains. When the masses of ice finally melted, they left behind this splendid landscape. Gentle valleys, crystal clear lakes, and rocky terrain. As the sun sets, our hot air balloon lands safely within a meadow. A wonderful end to a wonderful day. The village of Mondsee is surrounded by fertile meadows, and the houses with their rural Baroque and Rococo facades are a captivating sight. The buildings are picture postcard perfect and like something from a movie set. For 1,000 years, the monastery here was the cultural heart of the region. Shaped like a sickle, the Mondsee is situated between the Drachenwand and Schafberg Mountains. The lake is 11 kilometres long and 70 metres deep. It has a relatively warm temperature due to its sheltered location and total lack of inlets from cold mountain rivers. The most temperate lake of the Salzkammergut attracted the first settlers to this region. They built lakeside dwellings here. The Attersee is the largest lake in the Salzkammergut. It's nearly 20 kilometres long and more than 2,000 metres wide. It's also quite deep, 170 metres. Its southern section is located within the limestone mountains of the north. The Toten Gebirge mountains extend to its banks. Until around 18,000 years ago, the Tranquil glacier covered this entire region. It was then that the ice began to recede and the water became trapped here. The color of the lake changes from blue to green according to the weather. Due to the high winds here, the lake is popular with sailing enthusiasts. On a hilltop between the Attersee and the Transsee and within the Salzkammergut, at a height of 960 meters above sea level, is the Hochkreit Animal Park. More than 300 wild animals live here, including red deer. During its planning, much thought was given to the harmonization of the park's animal enclosures and surrounding landscape. The overall effect is quite stunning. Exotic animals live side by side with indigenous species. "12 kilometers long and at almost 200 meters deep, the deepest lake in Austria, the Transsee, carved out by the mighty glaciers of the last ice age. The picturesque Traunkirchen is situated on a peninsula at the west side of the lake, and so is the elevated Johannes Chapel of Baroque design. The salt-producing town of Gmunden is the true gateway to the Salzkammergut and is also a popular tourist destination. Here, salt arrives from Hallstatt and Aussee. In the early 19th century, the salt was loaded onto one of the country's first horse-drawn railroads and transported to the Danube. From the boat, there's a wonderful view. Attractive houses and small hotels blend perfectly into the fertile green landscape. From the town, a cable car leads up the Grünberg, one of the most beautiful walking areas in the Salzkammergut, with fine views across the Tranquil. The downward journey is even more impressive. We travel down into a beautiful valley as we approach our destination. The town extends to the edge of the water, a perfect setting. Splendid buildings and the Salzamt indicate the town's prosperous past. Ort Castle is located on a small island. Gmunden's main landmark can be reached via a long wooden bridge. Within the idyllic Almtal and its main village of Grünau is the untouched and romantic Almsee. It is surrounded by the rugged mountain slopes of the Toten Gebirge that was formed by the glaciers of the last ice age. Set within a captivating landscape is a wildlife paradise, Cumberland Park. Measuring 60 hectares, more than 500 animals live here. Forests, meadows, a brook and several ponds are the natural habitat for around 70 varieties of wildlife. In springtime, the meadows are covered with white daffodils. The Grundlsee is situated close to the slopes of the Toten Gebirge. It's possible to travel by motorboat across the 6-kilometre-long lake, or travel by car alongside its shoreline to Gosar. The area in the southeast of the Salzkammergut is known as Aussierland. A small and well-arranged world, natural and beautiful. Our journey ends at the eastern end of the lake where there's a small jetty. A fairy tale world. In springtime, there's no hint of the cold months of winter. A footpath leads past a church and various farmhouses to the tiny Toplitsee. The water is dark and mysterious. The steep tree and rock-covered shoreline make it difficult to walk close to the lake. Thus, part of the Toplitsee is only accessible by boat. However, many are attracted by the lake. They come here to dive for unknown treasures that were rumored to have been hidden by the Germans in the final days of the Second World War. But nothing has yet been found here. No one knows if there really is a secret treasure here. The Bad Aussee Health Spa is the centre of this region. Since 1850, both brine and mud baths have been available here. The houses of the old town are still adorned with frescoes and decorations. It was here that Erzherzog Johann of Austria met and married the daughter of the postmaster of Aussee, a true romance. The park and buildings of the health resort still remain. The Salzkammergut dates back to the 14th century. It's also known as the Kammerhof. Its red marble windows and doors are of late Gothic design. The Emperor's Hall is an historic reminder of former times. Maximilian I visited the town in 1511 and during his stay had a powerful influence over its citizens. 6 kilometres northwest of Bad Aussee is yet another picturesque site, the Alt-Aussee. There are boathouses and old-style fishing boats and flower meadows that extend right down to the shores of the lake. The Alt-Aussee Sea is 3 kilometres long and is surrounded by the rocky Drachenwand and the striking peak of Gosar mountain. A narrow, winding road leads to our next mountain adventure. For thousands of years, salt has been worked here. Courageous miners had to venture deep into the mountains in their search for the white gold. The mine also contains a number of surprises, such as a subterranean chapel within a tunnel, a treasure chamber that was used to hide valuable paintings during the war, and a mine shaft. A 9-kilometre-long road travels around 15 bends up the Gosar. The view is quite spectacular. From the shining mountain peaks of the Dachstein as far as the snow-covered summit of the Grossvenediger. Healthy mountain air, magnificent alpine flowers in summer, and snow and ice until spring. Then there is Alpsierland, with green meadows, scattered settlements, and the deep blue Alt-Aussee Sea. The downhill journey provides a good deal of sensational views and exciting moments. At the beginning of the 19th century, Bad-Ischl was called simply Ischl. When a local doctor began to use salt water to treat miners who suffered from rheumatism, the Austrian emperor's personal physician took an interest in the treatment, and Ischl subsequently became a health spa. Along with numerous artists and the like, the imperial court soon put Bad-Ischl onto the Austrian health spa map. Now it was fashionable to own a summer residence in Bad-Ischl. It takes around 12 minutes for the cable car to travel from the town to Katrinalm, that is named after the emperor's lover, actress Katharina Schratt. At an altitude of 1,500 meters, this is perfect walking territory. And way down below is Bad-Ischl. Bad Gosar, life here is not easy. The harsh climate has made the local people hardy. The narrow lanes between the tightly packed houses evoke a feeling of intimacy and security. Tradition, culture, and self-confidence have been contributed to the town's many arts and crafts. The mountain boot was invented in Bad Gosar, and the ancestors of the bootmaker supplied the imperial court that resided each summer in nearby Bad-Ischl. Similar to a fjord, the Hallstatter Sea extends in front of the picturesque Hallstatt. This region was first settled in ancient times. A unique mixture of millennia-old culture and beautiful scenery, crowned by a village of historic importance. Precious mountain salt has decisively influenced life in Hallstatt from around 1500 BC to the present day. The historic buildings are now protected monuments, and the welcoming facades of the dwellings have graced this atmospheric village since the 16th century. Its market probably dates back to the 14th century. For many years, the village could only be reached by rowing boat or by foot, but in 1862, the first steamship arrived. To the west of the Hallstatter Sea is the high Gosar Valley, whose source lies within the Gosar Sea. At the end of the valley, at an altitude of 933 meters above sea level, is a tiny mountain lake that is surrounded by rock walls. A cable car travels up the Weisse Alm, from where various paths lead to numerous good vantage points. The beauty of nature is at its zenith in these high mountain areas, and the smell of both trees and mountain pastures is intoxicating. During the Ice Age, this area lay within the earth, where a huge lime plate broke into two sections, the Dachstein Mountains and the Toten Gebirge. The Dachstein, a fabulous world of rock and ice, imposing and majestic. A picturesque mountain landscape set amid the central European Alps. Its interior full of fascinating caves. Those who discovered the first of these caves named it the Mammoth Cave due to its large dimensions, although its entrance is extremely deceptive. The Dachstein Mountains contain another impressive cave that also attracts many visitors each year. The path to the cave leads alongside a natural mountain stream. The foaming water that flows in front of the Cumberland Cave comes from a spring deep within its interior. The Dachstein glaciers flowed through the Tranquil down to the lowlands. As the water table sank, a huge area of the caves became free of water. Thus, this huge ice cave became accessible to scientists. Today, it's one of the largest ice caves in the world. Today, around 800 meters of the cave is open to the public, and the cave system continues to be a beautiful enigma, a veritable natural wonder of the world. The mountaintops of the Alps are covered with snow and ice until early summer. Its remote location, set between picturesque mountains and lakes, is truly captivating. A landscape of both history and culture. The Salzkammergut, a veritable paradise in the heart of Europe.